Let's see. First, you need to be found. Near Misha, age 27, height 5'2", location Govland. Select a profile picture. What the fuck was that? What was that weird cursor? A little bit. I don't remember some of it yet, Gov. Do these even? I guess they do matter, but no one asks us a question. No one asks us a question about the doggo profile picture I took. Some people will. Yeah, I guess Satan Lady didn't care about my dog. It's bad, man. Let's go with this one. Yeah, we had a dog profile pic as Ryan, but no one asks us about her. What industry are you into? Healthcare. What do we like? We like food. We like to travel. Then we like, I don't know, partying? And I'll just pick my own again. Or should I pick something else? I don't know, what do you think? What do you think, chat room? What star sign? Should I pick my own again or something else? Pick yours. What is yours? I don't know what it is for yours. Pick Cancer. Taurus? Okay, we'll do Govs. There we go. Let it begin. He's picking his nose in the picture.
There's me having a good day.
Well, it's just become great. You're welcome.
What's happening?
I just got back from work an hour ago.
Same.
I've made myself some food.
Same.
And I've just got off the phone with my landlord.
Oh, not same.
Yeah, I missed a payment, but it's fine. I've paid it now, and it's settled anyway.
Anyway, I've got some news.
Okay.
I joined a dating app.
Have you? Well, I mean, they are inevitable.
I was expecting more shit from you.
Well, what's the saying? They have people in glass houses can't throw stones.
No way, you too. Matches?
Yes, a lot. No, a 0.
But don't apps help out new users with
Misha,
likes and
you're not helping.
They really try and help you get people to like you because you're new.
Misha, I still have 0 even with whatever you just said. There's still 0. What about you?
Hey, the grass isn't always greener. I've got 80 likes. But once you filter out the bad profiles and the
He matched with a Vinny? Who, Ryan?
Quiet.
Yeah, that would have been a sick Easter egg or something.
Anyway, I have a new initiative in the
That would have been
works.
sick.
What's that? You gonna kidnap someone?
I've signed up.
Earth water sign, whatever.
Okay.
You were meant to be with the Satan girl,
Because I'm
Gov.
booking it and do you want to have a drink before?
Could you just say less? It'd be great if you just stopped speaking about 30 seconds ago.
See you there. Bye.
Bye.
Because there's no substitute for meeting someone face to face. You can see their physicality, feel their vibe.
Yes, but what if there is no vibe? What do you do then? If you're online, you can log off, you can make it an excuse, you can just be gone. My internet connection was crap. What do you do here?
Welcome everyone to Speed Dating. My name's Derek, I'm your host. We're going to be beginning very shortly, so gentlemen, if you could make your way to your table numbers.
You are so cynical. This is where you're going to find that genuine connection you keep banging on about.
Why are you smiling at me like that?
Exactly, it's Derek. He's
Why are you
the
smiling at
host
me
of
like
this
that?
No, I'm not smiling,
speed
you know.
dating event.
Misha?
There is a small possibility.
Derek! Hey,
I'm not doing
cutie.
this.
You are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'll just leave.
Oh, come on.
No.
Look, at least it's going to be a good story.
It is not going to be a good story. I'm just going to get humiliated. You've been preparing for this. I'm not doing it.
It's a great story. Oh, he's browsing. He's browsing the shop floor.
How does it work?
Sorry, what?
Don't make me repeat
Sorry,
myself.
Okay, so the women stay at the table, the men, you, rotate around them.
I'm a man now.
So you go to different tables and you speak to girls.
What do I say?
Whatever you like.
see you in a
You
bit,
have
girl.
5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
And halfway through the date, that dude over
Wait, so
there
that means we're gonna be
will
sitting here this whole time now.
And then he'll also tell us when there's 1 minute left to wrap it
Hmm.
up. So essentially, you've got to use your time wisely, which I know you're not good at.
No, hence why I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
We're going to start with the gentleman by your first allotted table numbers. And good luck. Have fun.
Thanks, Derek.
You're sitting in my first date seat, so I need you to jog on. Go well, lad. Cheers.
There we go. Who's first? Ty in the fast lane.
Hey,
Hey, you good?
What the fuck?
I'm Misha.
I'm Ty.
You're not drinking?
No, bikes and alcohol don't go together.
Is this guy a surfer?
Oh, sorry, it's a pandemic hangover.
You're an elbow.
He looks
bumper.
fucking cool.
I'm a frontline worker, so I've had to deal with a lot of COVID patients directly.
Well, that makes sense. Why you be careful? Seriously though, you guys have been amazing. I don't know what we'd all do without the NHS.
So, Ty, what do you do with your days?
This and that.
Okay. He's a bank robber. He's the escape driver.
Nice helmet.
It's a bit inappropriate.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So, did you get up?
Why
too
you
much
say
this
that?
weekend?
It's been a pretty rough week, so just blowing off some steam.
Cryptic.
Why is he so...
I'm sure we can find some more interesting things to talk about.
Why is he so... blank? Why is he just... Oh, just that. That should be appropriate. I've just been doing that. Man comes straight from the Asian connection. Yeah, he's like Steven's getaway driver or something. What it sounds like with him being like, oh, this or that. And yeah. You know, I'm gonna ask him. This guy is being way too not open about stuff. He's just, oh, this and that. You know.
Come on, what was so draining about your weekend?
Easy there, Nosy. The weekend was between me and my sheets, and it's going to stay that way.
This is your half.
What? This guy is...
Guys. 3 minutes to go.
Why is he even here?
Flies, doesn't it?
So, what brought you speed dating?
I tend to run in the same circles. Gets a bit
He
old.
looks like such a cool character
exhausted
that
yourself
has
on
like
options.
loads of stories to
What do
tell,
you think
but
I am?
he's being like so blank.
What do you think I am?
Not sure. Still deciding.
Where's his
Would you
music?
say you're open-minded?
Why?
Definitely more open-minded than you.
I can answer.
Okay. Prove it.
I would say I am.
Cool.
Now, are you going to tell me why you asked me that?
I like to know where I stand with people. This world's always changing, and it's important for us to stay open. It's hard to do that when you're grown.
Are we grown?
Getting there, trying. Just don't like labels. If I want to do something that's out of excitement or curiosity, then so be it. Whether that's in my social life, my work life, my sex life.
I see.
I'm one of the people who wants to
Inappropriate.
try everything once.
Yeah.
Variety is the
Say that
spice
right
of
back
life.
because he said the helmet was inappropriate. Now we'll keep listening
I lost my parents when I was
since he's finally
young.
talking.
And, you know, there's a lot there that I'm trying to make up for as an adult.
I'm really sorry.
No, it's fine. I was like this big when it happened, so just goes to show you, life, all of this is just so short and fragile, and we owe it to ourselves. You know, you, me, even that guy dressed as a daffodil over there, to do everything we can to explore everything we can to find happiness and pleasure.
How's that going for you and him?
Well, pretty damn well for me. I'm not sure about him. But no, I'm getting good, you know, finding out what my appetites are and what my body needs.
Now,
What? Why did he say that with that like
everything.
the look on
1
his
minute to
face?
go, guys.
What the fuck?
Just
What my
60
body
seconds.
needs?
Better make it count.
You seem very high fashion.
I like nice materials on my skin. So my boxers are made of extremely soft material.
Can I feel them?
Sounds nice.
Do you want to know where they're from?
That was a Steven Smuck move. Hey, did you see that? Just what my body needs.
You'll go?
That wasn't part of the deal.
We never made a deal.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, hurry up. Running out of time. Which supermarket?
Not gonna tell you.
Such a tease.
A lady needs her mystery.
And your time is.
I mean, yeah. Like this guy looks like a surfer or something.
This time, I want to see you again.
Holy
What's
shit!
your handle?
What a giga chat.
Games, game.
No fear, straight to the point. Look her straight in the eye. I want to see you again.
It's at its tie 25.
Oh, jackpot.
This
Good
guy's
fun.
cool. He was just a little blank in the beginning. Took a bit to get going. Jake. Class in session. What is he, a teacher?
Hey,
Hey.
I'm a hugger. Should we hug? I'm
so am I.
self-confessed.
Ah,
Okay.
he seems like good material. He does.
I'm Jake.
Misha.
Definitely a
I think
person.
I might
Definitely a
have
character.
ruined your shirt a bit back there.
No, I don't think you did. Okay, so quick story. My grandmother buys me a birthday gift every year, and she likes to get me a shirt.
You know
This
Jake.
is a
Oh,
vintage
I
2013.
see that
Oh,
Jake.
right.
Yeah, I'm a teacher.
think I know what
clearly
Jake you
too
might be
busy to buy
talking
my own
about.
clothes, so. Do you
Yeah,
have
he is a
any
teacher.
birthday traditions?
Oh, I don't know if I can compete with that shirt. Grandma clearly knows her drip.
Hey, she's got good taste.
Grandma knows her drip, she just
I
said.
actually
What the
do have a
fuck?
tradition. My granddad always buys me a jumper on my birthday.
I do love a jumper.
But he's colourblind, so... But instead of seeing the colours differently, he sees them all the same. It's called,
Trigonometry.
This speed dating business is such like an interesting format.
Yeah, I think so. I actually don't get out too often. School's quite full on, so
Summer holidays, though.
exactly. You speed
Yeah, he
dated
seems really
before?
nice.
That's a verb.
Oh, you're gonna mark me on this day, aren't you?
No, I wouldn't do that to you. Of course not.
Oh. I haven't speed dated before.
Okay.
Just use apps and trying to meet people the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, me too. I don't normally do
What?
this type of thing. but
They
I can't
work in
relate.
a
Why not
school?
enlist them?
Oh.
You're investing in your own happiness. I love
Job
that for you.
teachers. Pog.
Yeah, I love that for me too.
What is most important to you in a relationship?
Two different
Yeah,
schools.
glad you added that last part. I'm not sure we're
Would
ready
have been
for
funny if it
that.
was the same one.
3 minutes to go. 3 minutes.
Well,
Oh.
maybe I'd be so bold to say I'm looking for love.
Time for Guff to work at a school
How
too.
about you? Okay. Was that
Brains.
No,
Excuse
it's
me, is she a
honest.
zombie?
nothing else? I'm honest.
Good to know. I want good conversation. Someone who can challenge me intellectually.
I think it's reasonable to expect stimulating conversation from someone you're spending time with. Now, as for the challenge part, so
no.
I gave the kids.
Oh
a
no.
pop
Oh
quiz
no.
today.
Oh god, no.
That's it.
Oh fuck no.
Did you do this with all the
Oh
ladies?
Jesus.
Was it that obvious?
Time to fucking embarrass myself on the
kidding.
internet
I
again.
don't do
Here
very
we go.
often.
Sure, if we have enough time.
Enough for a quick fire true or false round?
Okay.
Okay, great. Question 1. There is no word in the English language that rhymes with orange.
I don't know, man. False.
False.
False? Incorrect.
Ah.
Orange is unrhymable. All right, second question. The Caribbean island of Aruba
Well, he's dumb.
is not Portugal.
I don't know, sure. No, I'm false again. I'm sticking to my falsing.
False. The island belongs to the Netherlands. Right?
Correct.
Oh, it belongs
Okay,
to
third question.
Chrisland.
There are 14 bones in the human foot.
I don't know. Shall we find out? Let me break every bone in your foot.
True.
Ooh, incorrect. It's actually 28 bones in each foot.
That's a lot of bones.
A lot of bones.
That's a lot of bones.
I guess those weren't your area of expertise.
That's you being nice. It was a shocker, Jake.
He hates me now. He doesn't want to see me again
You'd be
now.
Bottom upset.
And that's why I'm looking for someone with brains.
Yeah.
1 minute to go.
He hates me
1
now.
minute warning.
He doesn't want to see
So
me. He
what
thinks
else
I'm
do you do
fucking
with yourself,
stupid.
Jake, besides date randoms?
I like to read a lot. It's yeah, it's one of my favorite hobbies.
Air quotes, nice. I picked up a book in my time.
Favorite genre?
Oh, finishing with a toughie.
Erotic.
Could determine our entire future
Right.
together.
No pressure. I have to confess, I like a little crime.
A little crime?
Yeah, a little like killing spree from time
Do you
to
hate
time.
that too?
Well, I should probably just call my mum then.
I'm not a serial killer. Though I would say that, wouldn't I?
Actually, if you're into killing sprees, that makes you more of a mass murderer, not a serial killer. Just saying.
Only if the killing takes place over one sustained period of time.
Okay, touche. Why are we doing this?
I don't know, can we stop?
Yes, please, because I'm not into crime fiction. I hate it with a passion.
And that is.
What's
time,
7 you'll know
ladies
how
and
many
gents.
bones are in your feet? Exactly. Who the fuck knows that? I didn't know that until now. Excuse me?
I should apologize
For what?
for us not hitting it off.
I'm sorry, I'm stupid, man.
You didn't think we hit it off.
I'm sorry that I'm fucking stupid. I'm sorry I don't have the same IQ as you. Please, no, I want to see you again. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. Jesus. Lucas. Head in the clouds. Oh god, is he an influencer? Please don't tell me he's an influencer.
Oh, hey.
Can I?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
What a sip. What the hell are you
No, I've been
drinking?
waiting my whole life for this.
Oh, oh, sorry. Sorry, I've only just finished work, you see, so it takes me a minute to recalibrate.
I get that.
What the fuck kind of potion are you drinking?
Ah,
I spent my out of hours last night on a big night out.
so you like to party?
Yeah, I do. Do you?
No.
Not really. I mean, yeah, I'll have a beer every now and then after work, you know, just to take the edge off. I feel like, I don't know, when I stare at a computer screen for too long, my eyes go a bit weird.
Yo, he's a gamer.
I am a freelance computer.
He's
nerd,
Leo
and
IIL.
because of that, my work hours are just all over the place.
I mean,
Get out more.
yeah,
It's
my
like
hair is the
guys.
same length as his.
Well, that's what I'm doing now, I suppose.
Not a bit longer.
What's your living situation? Do you have any flatmates?
I actually live on my own, which, to be honest, I love. Antisocial, though. I don't know if you found this,
I-
but
I
as
can't believe you
get
just said
older,
that.
There's just
Man just said chuck
harder
chuck.
and smaller avenues of making.
He
friends,
has the
living
same
on
hair
your own
as
there
you.
too, know.
He
So I
does,
suppose
yeah.
Things like this are amazing for that.
If you don't mind me asking,
Mine is more curly though.
how do you afford to live on your own?
It was something I was working on, just like, did well. So
Mine
I
looks
decided,
better.
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself a place. I deserve it, and the rest is history.
There's nothing scare you
What about
in it.
Do you prefer
Jesus.
to live on your own or with people?
I've tried both.
Really?
I worked
I-
away for a bit and they put me up.
Oh, that's a really good way of experiencing.
He's also antisocial as Leo.
I thought I'd be really scared of
It-
living
it's
alone, but
actually
actually
me.
it's the best. I can walk around naked whenever I want.
Yeah. I think for me.
God, that could.
sometimes it can be
You
quite
did not
lonely,
expect that reply.
especially if I don't like
This
my
poor,
partner.
You should make some more plans then.
this poor antisocial nerd.
You know, I've been looking forward to this all week, and I'm glad I'm here.
I get that. The last couple of years have been tough, but I'm grateful that we went through it when we had
Keep
video
dropping my
calling.
pen.
Exactly. I mean, and that wouldn't have been possible without technology.
It's taking over the world.
So are you aware of the synchronicity then? That's when
Oh my
AI will eventually surpass mankind. You know,
nerd
robots
time.
ruling the world and all that. If you could say yes or no to that happening, what would you say?
Go. Terminator. What are you doing with a
Robots already
fucking
run the
pen?
world,
Hey,
and
don't
like
question
30%
it.
of tasks are done by
Don't worry about it.
computers.
Exactly. What a statistic. It's exciting, isn't it?
You're not scared?
Awkwardness
No, it's
reminds
definitely
you
exciting.
of you.
Might as well just step into it.
I'm terrified.
Ah, that's why you like
Honestly,
Lucas.
it's
Can you
terrifying.
That's
imagine
fair.
walking into a bar and not being able to tell who's a robot and who's real?
I mean, I feel like that anyway in life. So, yeah.
This is your halfway warning, guys.
can't get
That is
over
3
that.
minutes to go.
Man stole my
180
hair.
Seconds. Couldn't tell you how many milliseconds.
Already? What's the time?
What's the time?
You're wearing a watch, yet you still checked your phone.
You're right. Hands up, I must be a phone addict.
That's not
I'm a
me.
laptop addict.
Yeah,
I'm
that
a tablet
that
junkie,
no.
so-
the
Say
full
consoles.
You wondering about me?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should be asked this on a first date.
Why? So you know how distracted someone's going to be when you're trying to talk to them.
He looks hotter than me.
Okay, so I am addicted
I
to
don't
my
know about
phone,
that one.
but
Here comes the excuse.
no, it's a generational
I mean, you
thing.
put the cap,
I mean,
so
we
that
grew up
means
with our phones,
I'm
and they're,
hotter.
like, part of
Obviously.
us. They're essential tools for our daily routine.
Obviously.
I could not agree more. You know, we are just so immersed in technology. People don't even realize it. We are constantly interacting with it, and it goes far beyond just.
Excuse me,
phones.
Govs?
Oh yeah, I mean, GPS, search engines. My God, I'd be useless without all of that.
And take contactless payments, for example. That has completely revolutionized the whole social economics of how we buy things. For example, back a day, you would have to pull out your wallet, get some coins out, and pass it to the cashier, whereas I can now just go boop, and it's paid for.
I still do that
So
though.
I'd say these things here.
I still use a
definitely-
wallet. What about me? I don't do that. I don't have a factory watch like that. Don't ruin it. Don't worry. I already screenshot. It's already screenshotted and sent. Don't worry about it.
The quickest
Shut
way to
up,
buy things at
man.
the moment. I actually, I actually invented a smart band myself.
What's that?
So you know hairbands. You know how they've got that little metal connector bit. I've took a microchip
What?
with the same
Nothing.
kind of contactless software, and I've put it into.
You
it.
use your
So
bank
you can
card.
tie your
I
hair
don't
up
even
with it,
have that.
and you just have it around your wrist, and with that, you could pay for something, and it's not as flashy as. Some
Oh,
of
I
the
do,
things,
but I
so
don't.
it's-
I can't use it because I forgot the
That's a
code.
pretty genius idea.
Thank you.
Have you released any of them?
I made a few prototypes of the device, and then what I did was I reached out to a big tech
Exactly.
company and sold.
When you
patent.
did that, I thought that
That's
was so
a pretty
advanced.
big
Like, holy
deal.
shit, man, that shit is
Oh
on
my
the
God,
phone
you
now. Oh
did.
my god,
I
was
I'm
so
signed
shocked by that.
NDAs, so legally I can't. Really legally shouldn't have told you. I've just told you, so I can't.
Secret safe with me.
Brutus old man over exactly. It's just like
1
whoa.
minute to go, guys. 1 minute.
I was just
One
holy.
minute,
The
and then
credit
we
card
have
is
to wrap it
actually
up.
on the phone.
Moving
That's
on.
crazy.
This has been an interesting date.
That you could just pay like that.
No, I haven't offended you in anything I've been talking
No,
about.
no, no, not at all. And I hope I haven't offended you.
I'm still here, aren't I?
I mean, not for much longer. We should make the last 60 seconds count.
Okay.
I should
read
visit
somewhere
UK
that
one day.
extroverts deal with these kind of
Why?
situations a lot better than introverts. So,
I could
would you say you're
find the Satan girl.
extrovert or introvert?
Good question.
And you're not allowed to say both.
Come on.
Cheat. In life, people like
Yeah, every time I
Means
paid in
it's
cash.
of the
Every single time I paid in cash. 'Cause that's all I had. Paid in cash all the time. I never. This fucking old man. I always just carry. I always just got cash on me. I don't fuck. I don't trust that technology. I don't trust the phone with my card. And plus, I don't use my card since I don't remember the code for it. So it's all about the cash, man. Exactly. It's like you're all waiting there for me to pay because I had to like count. This is €1, €2, €3, and then but you gotta count it again. Shit, I fucked up. Just order a new code. It's like the 5th time I'm ordering a new code. The bank's gonna find that sus. They're gonna start questioning me at some point. If it's like the 5th time I'm ordering a new code. They remember it. I forget it because I only use it like once every 5 years. With the cone hidden in the phone number. I don't remember people's phone numbers. You think I call people? I don't do that. Excuse me? Why not just write the code down? Yeah, I should do that. Man is so old. Yeah, I don't call people. Who do you think I am? Well, let me call you. Oh my god. He's gonna call me in Discord. I'm not calling people, man. If I want to talk to people, I show up at their house. That might sound, probably sounds a little bit munker, but I just show up and be like, hey, man, what's up? Oh, yeah, you do have my phone number. I forgot about that. He remembers when Big Bang happened. That's how old he is, this fucking dinosaur. Get a load of this old man. He is stalker. No, I didn't mean it like that. No, no. See, this guy's too advanced to be me. He's like a modern version of me. I guess, yeah. He's a more modern version of me. With freaking knock on the Gob's front door. What you? I can't believe it. Both of you just said the exact same thing at the exact same time, just phrased differently. Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Oh, yep, there you go. This guy's a mix between me and the Gob. God, am I glad we have streamer mode enabled for this game. We're just sitting in the scene for a minute now. It's all sun drinking, blue Mountain Dew. Yeah, excited. That would definitely be you. The ones we've seen so far, yeah, you'd definitely be Ty. You hated Ty. Oh my god, he was a little blank in the beginning, but then once he got going, I kind of started to like him. He's full of himself. He sure is, yeah. But I did still kind of start to like him towards the end. He just had to create interest, exactly. He just, he was a little rough to get going in the beginning, but then once you got going, it got kind of okay. Oh my god, is it a spoiler that you're DMing me? Oh, what is it? Oh, you DM'd with Chris. Gotcha. You didn't say Chris, you just said you. You could be anyone in the chat room and the stream. Oh my god. If I say introvert, he's probably gonna like that. Or maybe not, I don't know. I just say introvert.
I'm definitely an introvert. Just the idea of someone new
He
sitting
likes
there
it.
and me having to talk to them makes a tiny bead of sweat drip down my armpit.
Oh my gosh, same. Like, this top under here is going in the bin when I get home.
I wondered what that smell was.
Really?
What?
Of course not, I'm joking.
Oh, man.
He got
I am
worried
so
for a sec,
bad at
man.
reading when people
Guy
are
hasn't showered in 7 days.
making a joke or being serious. I really can't tell.
You're starting to get
Probably not the
worried.
best match, are we?
He's starting to go worried the
And your
deodorant couldn't cover it up
time is
anymore.
Up for that day, gents. Your date is awaiting.
Don't tell me you enjoyed that.
No, I did.
Me too. Stay in touch?
Yeah, if you want. My handle is @theBandcoder.
Unique handle. I'll hit you up.
Thank you. And bye, Misha.
This was number 3, right? What about number 4? Yeah, he's hyped, man. He's feeling it after that. Yeah, the teacher guy. What was his name? Jake was his name. Oh, not Dash. Lads.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello, mate.
I'm Misha.
People governor.
Bash, here for the interview. You been on holiday? You got that healthy beach glow.
Really? What's a holiday?
Oh, that's sad. I just got back from a stag do.
Nice.
What is this tag?
What did you get up to today?
Just played some five-a-side football with the boys. Yeah, pretty knackered.
I just went to the
This
supermarket,
guy.
did the weekly shop.
Do you still do that in person? I do it all online now. It's easy.
Yeah, of course. I've got to squeeze my fruits.
Why do you need to squeeze the fruits? What do you need to know about them? Their names? Hi, I'm Lenny. I'm a lemon.
That actually is a good name for a lemon, though.
Lenny, shut up, mate. Get him a gin and tonic.
Oh, lemons and G&Ts. That's ballsy.
Don't tell me you're a lime girl.
We're rivals.
That's a problem.
So, your name?
What a chat.
What about it?
Well, it's got to be a nickname, right?
Yeah, everyone needs a nickname.
So what's the story?
It's a long story.
Condense it?
No, it's a long story. Leave it.
Oh, don't leave me guessing. At least give me some options.
You're an option.
Whoa.
Yeah, fair.
I promise I won't judge. I'm just really curious.
What about it? Okay, so it all started with an awkward boner.
I beg your pardon?
Okay, look, I was 11 and I was on a school adventure trip and I got an awkward boner while I was waiting for my turn to go abseiling. And obviously everyone thought I was, you know...
Having a bash.
Yeah.
And you go by that nickname
What the fuck?
voluntarily.
Well, everyone calls me it, so I don't really have a choice, do I?
This is
Having
your
a bash.
halfway warning, guys. 3 minutes to go. I know, it flies, doesn't it?
So have you got any nicknames?
No, but my name is already sort of a nickname, apparently. It means Michael in Russian.
Michael. I knew someone called Michael once.
Michael.
He nicked my girlfriend in year 6.
I'm sure she could choose for herself.
Can I call you Mike?
Yeah.
Have you got any real nicknames then?
God, no one's ever asked me about nicknames before.
Well, I am honoured to be the first.
I love his
Come
real
on,
name.
all right.
My mate Ryan calls me Muggy Misha. I
What is it?
apparently mug him off.
Gov or something?
In the blue corner, the biggest rocket here tonight, Muggy Misha!
You practiced that in front of the mirror, didn't you?
100%.
Muggy Misha.
So, did you do any exercise during lockdown?
Oh, seamless.
I'm just trying to keep the chat moving forward.
Nice.
Bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
Did you
well,
do
we're
any
talking.
exercise during lockdown? Nah. No. Thanks, doctor. I'm gonna say yes though. His real
I did
name
these
is
daily,
Billy.
like, online workout videos with that dude. who's got, like, a
Exercise,
UK
imagine
phenomenon and
moving.
probably a millionaire.
The geezer with the curly hair.
Imagine moving out of my.
Don't patronise me.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, good for you. I did a bit, but I found it like well hard to get motivated. Holy shit! That stunt I mentioned, yeah. It was in Turin, in Estonia.
Tallinn, Estonia?
Wait, what? There's two of them.
Yes, knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Stat capital of Europe,
I'm
right?
looking for
So
Llewellyn
let's see what the
Moss.
hype was about.
Did you go up
Second
to
night.
his
We're in the
trailer?
middle of a speed dating, sir.
We were all in
I'd
these
say
morses.
he's at work.
He's
Do you
not
wanna
here
leave
yet.
a message?
Where
does he work?
By 5 p.m.
I can't
he was
say.
absolutely battered. But after a little tactical vomit, we were ready to
Where
go to the
does he
club.
work?
It
Sir,
was the best
I ain't
night
at liberty
ever.
to give out no
What is
information
happening?
about our
Flowing,
residents.
back-to-back bangers on the playlist.
Where
all
does he
lads, they were
work?
all together.
That's great.
Did you not hear me?
Bumping road.
We can't give out no
Takes life into the
information.
Wants to go back to his room.
No freaking way he didn't.
Where does he work?
Where does he work?
Where does he work?
Set the potential
I can't
disaster.
say.
No, it's not exactly encouraging for a happily married life, is it?
Yeah, we all had a big old heart-to-heart with him the morning after about it. That's all we can do as his mates, you know?
His
In my
mates?
mind, cheating is
His
absolutely
govs.
unacceptable. And his wife-to-be, she deserves better.
Oh.
Do you want to leave a message? Where does he work?
Something
Where does he
Where does
work?
he work?
1 minute to go, guys. Just 1 minute. So we'll be wrapping
He's
up
leaving
very
now.
soon.
Seems like we might be drawing to a close.
You sick of me already?
Definitely. You seen anyone you like, though?
Oh, yeah.
The chin of both of them.
You didn't answer me properly.
Joe's looking
for
at
me?
I
chins.
don't know, some more detail? Names, maybe?
Nope, no names necessary.
I may have seen a few hotties.
Yeah? Alright, show me. Oh, don't
Points
be
at
like that.
Derek.
That what?
She's trying to make me jealous.
Trying.
That laugh was
And your
perfect.
time is
After him
up
just
for
being
that
like, oh,
day.
whatever, man.
Gents, you'll be moving along to your next table.
Goodbye.
Nice to meet you.
Until the next lady, I guess. He couldn't handle Ani. That was already all of them? End of the night. Hello.
No way. What are the chances?
It's the same
For the
book.
podcast, the Miserable Millennial Book Club.
Yeah.
So, are you here for this speed dating thing?
The
Oh, I'm just waiting
fitting.
for my mate to finish. Yeah. You?
He remembers the quote.
I prefer to do things solo.
Reading a bar seems like a new one.
Well, considering all the coffee shops are shut, I don't really have a choice.
What am I saying? Me too. Sure.
I'm the same, actually. I like taking myself out for a meal or a spa day or a weekend away.
Or a spa weekend away.
Mate, stop.
Mate. Why has no one
I'm
said
Hazel,
bruv
by
yet?
the way.
Misha.
My absolute favourite thing to do solo, which I totally recommend, is go to the cinema. You can lean back, switch your phone off for a few hours, and just absorb the story.
Seems like a great
No
kind
one
of
will say
self-care.
bruv.
I just
Aw,
love
what?
me. Like, if you
Aw.
were to go, what would you watch?
Alone.
Alone? on a date, whatever.
God, I don't ever go to the cinema alone.
All right,
Horror.
well, what genre would you pick?
I really love horrors and thrillers.
Not like psychological and supernatural stuff.
Yeah, like stuff that gets under your skin.
But you're not a serial killer, are you?
Yes.
I mean, you're the one who spoke to me.
Oh, it's not funny, arsehole. I am so sorry. I meant that with affection.
I better not make you mad then.
So, how was the speed dating?
It was fun. Unpredictable, but yeah, fun.
Did you meet anyone sexy?
Is that word still in circulation?
Probably not, but I think I might bring it
Sure,
back.
we met
Why not?
Derek.
Yeah, I guess I met a few sexies that were.
That's great.
Yeah, it's nice to feel that way, isn't it?
He
Fresh
met
chemistry
Derek.
feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a while since I felt that too.
Yeah, you should try it sometime.
No, it really isn't my style.
Speed dating.
Not this kind of speed dating.
This is your 3-minute warning, guys. 3 minutes to go.
That poor horse voice must be ruined.
Yeah, it's the last date of the night, so I'll be off to meet Ryan soon.
In that case, let's get you a drink for the road. It's 2 for 1
Yeah.
till the event ends, so that gives you about 2.5 minutes as of now.
Oh, hell's bells, let's do it.
Yeah? I'll order. A couple of G&Ts, it'll be quick, won't they?
Oh, I think we can do better with what little time we've got. Shots?
Shots. Let's do it. Excuse me? What is it? Salt, lemon first?
Oh, I don't know.
Shut.
No, I don't like live either.
She's gonna be fucking wasted when Ryan shows up.
So, Hazel. So, Hazel.
Gay date, yeah.
What do you do for work?
This is like the
no,
third
see,
one.
This is why I didn't lead with this.
You missed
Okay,
it
so
with Derek.
I do HR.
Movie over Derek.
Just your very basic.
That's
boring
Ryan.
9 to 5.
Explains why you're such a people person, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 1 minute to go, guys. Just 1 minute.
Already?
No, I
Ah, you're trying to avoid spoilers.
How come
Oh,
Ryan
good
got an
catch.
extra date to me?
Understandable.
We can call this a speed date if you want.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an option.
It is.
Why not? I mean, we are abiding by time restrictions and everything.
Annoyingly. I wish we had longer.
Well, it's
Do you want to keep in touch? And
yeah. Let's just hang out after.
as much as I love doing things solo, I would really love a partner in crime now and again.
No.
Someone take your pics of social media and all that.
Yeah, it's more of a PA role, really.
I'd love to.
And that is time, everyone. Hopefully see you at the next one.
You don't want to keep Ryan waiting. At Hazel X1. You can hit me up there.
Everyone.
Got it.
Jesus Christ, man. See, these people don't even call each other. They just give each other Instagrams. See, so I'm not weird for not calling people. What do you mean?
Come on, spill the beans. How do they go?
Well, Jake doesn't have.
Okay.
Really, he doesn't.
Oh my gosh, there was Hazel,
Okay.
who I met at the
He
bar
calls
by
people.
accident. We were reading exactly.
He's a
the
teacher,
same
so that
book.
makes sense.
We had the same interests. She was really fun. She wasn't even meant to be there.
So she hadn't signed up for it.
No, she was just in the bar.
Okay. So she sounds like it went well.
It went really.
What am I
surprisingly
saying about
well.
teachers?
Hey,
Nothing.
nice. I'm liking Hazel.
Hazel could maybe progress to date 2.
They just don't usually have Instagrams,
Okay.
which makes sense. Because
Jake
why would they?
was really lovely. He was a teacher. He had some nice shirts.
So he's a
Oh,
nice
speaking
guy.
of the
He's
teacher
a
guy.
really nice guy. He's so sweet.
So what? There wasn't much of a spark with him.
Not really. I don't think he felt it either. So, yeah, I don't think that'll be another one.
Well, look, he doesn't know what he's missing.
So Ty came in his motorcycle leathers, holding his helmet. He is what you would call a bad.
He looks
boy.
like a
And how do
surfer.
you feel about a bad boy?
I don't know. I've never dated a bad boy before, but it sounds quite exciting.
You want to go to the dark side, don't you?
They have cookies.
Well, then go.
Bash. Well,
Mm.
firstly, he's called Bash, which tells you everything you need to know. Do you know what? He was really charming. He had really great banter.
In a good way, yeah.
In a really.
But then
good
I
way.
tried to make him
I'd
jealous
fucking
in the
know.
end, then he
We'll let him have that.
So, do you think
absolutely
there could
hated
be
it.
Another date?
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
They couldn't, but
Good.
So that was Lucas. He was a coder. He was.
He didn't give
intelligent.
me his
I didn't
Instagram.
understand half of what he said, but he was really lovely.
Okay, so
Walking
maybe
Dead Season 2.
we might
Hi.
see him again?
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
definitely
this
a
is zombie
possibility.
edition. See you later, Boxy. Have fun.
So, Misha,
Have fun with the Walking Dead
what's
movie.
gonna happen next?
I have a few options.
We got a lot of options now compared to Ryan, don't we?
The first move, send them a message.
Okay.
Pinky swear.
Pinky swear.
Okay.
So what about you? Tell me about your speed dating.
Search and Sim Zombie Edition. The Walking Dead Season 2. No, because I don't know what happens in the Walking Dead Season 2. I do not remember. We can actually pick Bash, even though he never told us his Instagram. He doesn't watch shows. He's talking about the Telltale game, though. Talking about the Telltale game. Hey, you're right, I don't watch shows. You have to fix a wound. Oh. That's what it is. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Leo doesn't play games. Exactly. I don't. It's confirmed. I only people sleep. Oh, but yeah, I remember that bit. I remember the dog biting you. Clementine is like trying to eat food. And then while you're eating the food, the dog just decides to attack you or something. Remember that. I don't remember the whole wound thing, though. Yeah, he just wanted the quick little snack. I'm right. He's hungry. Lucas. I'm so much cooler online, aren't we all? 4 pose. He has a lot of fucking views and a lot of followers. You serious? That's your first picture? That's your first picture? A power on? Oh my god, did I just turn you on? Oh my god, the comedian strikes again.
That actually is pretty funny.
Will you believe me using that line IRL? Yeah, I could see it. Either that or yeah, I 100% would, definitely. Something like that at least. Yeah, sure. Yeah, if it works, it works. Then he has a picture of a coffee, fucking keyboard, and himself. Wait, this is from that other game. Wait, hold on a second. Wait, he's the guy from Nightbook. Holy shit. He looks very different than this. He grew his hair out. Goddamn. Membrane keyboard. Weird champ. Swipe to the left. Wait, yeah, couldn't you recognize him? He's the guy from Nightbook. This is a picture from Nightbook. Another me game we played like a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember. Oh, that photo felt familiar to you too. You just couldn't quite figure out where it was from. Yeah, it's from Nightbook. God damn. Oh yeah. Insert pretentious stuff about myself here. But God, Nightbook existed. Yeah, I don't know. That one kind of got done really fast, but went by really fast. But it was fun. It was good. I like Nightbook. But yeah, his first picture is him on his bike with a fucking beer in hand. Look, that's my boy. Oh, he's drinking me, Leo. Finally a picture. He doesn't have a beer. It was. I mean, I liked Nightbook because it was horror and we had some funny moments in that game. But of course, I can't beat 5 dates. Live life to the fullest. He's drinking in every single one of his pictures. Besides this one. Banned. Who's that in the pics? Sus. He's with someone in all the pictures. He's with someone here, with someone here, with someone here. Someone here. He's with someone in all of them mostly. After. No, I didn't. I didn't go back and look at his chest. What are you talking about? Hovering book addict. Don't cling to a mistake. Have the courage to be disliked. Leo. What? What's up? I can't cling. What about that? Damn. I wish we could pick more than 2. Yeah, holy shit. We had all of them besides the teacher. Compared to Ryan, where we only had 2. Pick Hazel? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want to pick too. That's the one I want to pick, but picking these 2 would just be funny. Yeah, let's pick Hazel.
Can you hear me? Steady.
Hey, want a date? Not this, so I'm booked.
What? You have to choose my son. Ty sucks. We can pick Ty on the next one. Not this week, though. I'm booked. Oh my god. She likes books. Let's see, I have it open today. It's spa Tuesday, 7 p.m. How's that sound to you? Let's pick Hazel. He seems nice. Lucas. Codebreaker. He might be gone next time. Yeah, he doesn't waste any time. God, he looks so different in this game compared to Nightbook.
Sorry, but gosh. Yeah, just sit down. Yeah. To be honest, I do value a good handshake. You know, especially since we wasn't allowed to during COVID.
How was your lockdown?
Not much different to my
Played
usual
video
routine.
games.
Yeah, just got a lot of work done.
It was a really surreal time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
COVID, all caps.
Anyway, we lived it. We don't need to talk about it.
Exactly.
Should we get some drinks?
Yeah, let's get some drinks. What for that? Like these are quite deadly.
Winnie in the background, watch out.
You're not a bread person.
I love bread.
This man's level of awkward.
Vinegar, though.
Really?
Tangy.
You like it.
So, how have you been? Had a good week?
It's been alright. It's one of those.
The gamer guy. The nerd.
So, how about a bit of game time?
Oh, what? Are you not enjoying the conversation?
If you hate
But
it,
does
then
she
stop.
even make her own milk?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the real question now, isn't it?
Okay.
I make
Never
my
have
own
I
milk.
ever.
Oh, well, never have I ever played. Never have I ever.
Okay. Never have I ever
Those days were classic.
catfished anyone.
With 5 dates.
Oh.
Wait, I'm not a complete creep.
Ah!
Okay, it was in year 7, and
He's catfished someone.
I messaged this girl online, pretending to be a bodybuilder from Southend.
To be fair, I think I did the same during my MySpace days.
I feel like we've all wanted to be someone else.
I have. It was Tuna, though.
Who was you?
A Swedish
I caught a
child
tuna
model
once.
called Heidi.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on.
Heidi.
Your turn.
Okay. Never have I ever gone viral?
Technology-based questions.
You started it.
Not a complaint, just
Yes.
an observation.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm intrigued.
I hopped on the trend of cooking like crazy recipes and presenting them as normal. My pesto s'mores got people outraged.
That was you? Oh my god. You presented them so immaculately that, like, I actually wanted to make them.
Shut up.
No, seriously. I wanted to be internet famous when I was little, or an astronaut.
You would have got to wear the suit.
Famous.
No, I would have been sick in the suit because I can't handle being spun on a roundabout, let alone going to space. Yeah, one can dream, I suppose.
My turn. Never have I ever.
I just want to say that
What?
this game is a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Just nothing too X-rated.
He likes it.
Oi, I'm being serious.
Can't promise that. I'm really sorry. Never have I ever made the first move.
No? Sure that doesn't surprise you?
So I guess if anything were to happen between us, it would be me instigating it. Which is totally cool.
Shall we move on?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's... never have I ever... Oh.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I just, pondering my...
Take over his turn. Now let the man do his thing. He's thinking.
Shit, I drank what I'm not supposed to.
Oh, well, that's quite all right. Thank you for your patience. I've got one. Never have I ever lied on a dating app.
Okay, quite similar to the catfishing one, but it's a good one. Is this your way of telling me that you have?
Drink.
You so have.
We lied about... I don't know. What did we lie about?
Oh, okay.
Lied about the...
I once pretended to be Australian and said I lived in
Zodiac.
Melbourne because I thought it would make me sound more exotic.
What? What, did it work?
No. They just said they didn't want to date someone halfway across the world. That's my terrible Australian accent.
Okay, noted.
What about you? Have you lied on an app?
Yeah, I...
You never
told
drink
someone
because
I
you
wasn't
never
even at
go
home when I
out.
was.
Yep.
I just find that females don't...
We can
like
do it with
women
water.
that live with their parents.
You're overthinking it. Like, yeah, we like independence, but if I liked you enough, I think I'd make it work.
I don't live at home anymore.
I know.
Ah, yeah. I already told you that, didn't I?
Yeah. Show off.
Show off.
Shall we do one more each?
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, never have I ever.
Do you really have to say never have I ever at the start of every question?
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Stolen.
I didn't make the rules. I won't argue.
Go.
Never have I ever.
Have you stolen? Drink, drink. Please take a sip. Oh, not you.
Nitrogen?
It was a lip balm at school. My lips were chapped. I'm not proud
He's
of
too
it.
good.
What about you? Ever been tempted?
So, I hacked into my local
Oh my hacker mans, what?
system and I wiped my debts.
I mean, that totally counts.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Wait, that's 5 head. What the fuck? He's a
They
genius.
overcharged me, so, I was only rectifying a wrong. So.
What the fuck?
It's a safe space here.
Never have I ever stood someone up on a date.
That's not how this works.
Oh, gosh. Messed that up, haven't
It's fine. We'll go with it. We'll go with it.
I? Okay, what about you?
Unlike you, Leo. Well, unlike me, what?
You've never stood someone up on a date. I do realise it's a very shitty thing to do. I'm not trying to justify my actions.
I'm just glad you made it here.
You're not smart.
It was someone that I'd met on an online forum.
That we can agree
We
on,
made
yes.
plans and I just pied her off.
I feel bad for her and I don't even know her. She probably goes back there every night just on the off chance you'll turn up.
I still feel terrible and it was 5 years ago.
Sitting at the same table, ordering the same drink.
You're not making me feel much
Yeah, why are you making him feel
You
bad?
really didn't deserve that.
What the fuck? Well, that was a terrible way to end it.
Really, I hate it.
Really?
I'm not a herb person.
What a
But it tastes
bully.
lavender.
Oh, you can put them in a museum.
Yeah, why did she, like...
This was lavender, like they do.
Why
with
did she
donuts.
rub it in? What the fuck?
Not just I like technology. I'm against artificial plants.
Yeah,
What?
I agree, but I mean they do last forever.
Oh, Okay, that's 1 plus, I suppose. Yeah.
76.
It's that time.
It is?
I mean, they have food, but wait, this is only like, wow. This is still almost as much as the drinks with Ryan. And these people have food on top of it, didn't they? Or was it just drinks? Wait, no, I think this is just drinks. What the fuck? This is 76 pounds for 2 drinks? Huh? What the fuck kind of drinks are you having? They were so tiny and small, those cups. How were you charging that much? They live in London. What? The fucking cost my fucking house. What? I believe it. I didn't know London was. Oh, that's a pin right there. But I didn't know London was that expensive. Excuse me. How in the world? Something went wrong. Wait, it won't let me pin. Oh, well, I guess it's not getting pinned. Let's just split it. Like, I mean, who's gonna find that? Who's gonna find that offensive, splitting the bill? Surely he's okay with
You
that.
want to split?
Oh, that's a receipt. It's not a bill.
What do you mean? Neither of us have paid.
I know. It's on the house. I help them out with their tech support every now and then. So that's their way of saying thank you.
Oh, what the
You
fuck?
must really be an expert.
Easy money.
But thank you again for offering to split.
Oh shit, what happens now?
Do you
God,
want
he's
to
so
wait for your
tall.
cab?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. After you.
Can we at least hug? No, Hazel. Where do you stand? On the one night stand. That's also a classic game.
Hey. Hey, you. I've read that one too.
He's like so gal
She dies at the
size.
end.
No.
One
don't
night
you say
stand.
that.
She
Classic.
doesn't. You've been here long.
Yes, actually. But I'm always painfully early. It's kind of my thing. What about you? What's your timekeeping like?
Oh, straight in with the analytics.
I've been staring at spreadsheets all day. Gathering data has become my second nature.
I'm always freakishly on time. I think it's a disease.
Right, okay, so I can say this now because we're working out with the same person.
Right.
I hate people who are late.
Me too. It's so rude.
There's no excuse for it.
Like 5 minutes is fine, but anything else, I'm like,
Now, see, I'm like, set off earlier.
Bit traffic?
Well, leave yourself in case of traffic.
Compliment outfit.
hardball you are.
No messing about.
I do quite like that outfit.
I love your outfit.
Oh, thanks. It was, it was a gift.
Dungarees. You cannot go wrong with dungarees.
I know. Just chuck them on.
Life uniform, right?
Absolutely. Do you own a lot of dungarees?
I have like 10 pairs of dungarees.
I have about 3, and I think that's enough. Yeah, I think.
What a funny word. Dungarees. Sounds like an animal. Sounds like a
Should we get a
zebra.
drink?
Yes, definitely.
Dungarees.
Maybe a cosmopolitan.
Oh, I haven't had one in ages.
Okay.
Excuse me. No.
Can I get 2 cosmopolitans, please?
Can we have a dungarees? Dungarees.
Got to give eye contact.
Don't like
Hate
mint.
it.
Don't like mint.
I don't like them at all.
What the fuck? They are the same person.
I like that. Okay, this might sound silly.
I love silly.
Great. My uncle made up this holiday game called Where Do You Stand? So like one person brings up a
Your
topic and then it
uncle?
leads to like a debate or a discussion.
Does
Oh,
your
I know what you
uncle
mean.
happen
Okay,
to
I'll
be
go
named
first.
Marcus?
Right. Let me think. Right. Where do you stand on one night stands?
Wait, she actually said that?
I've played that one with the family before.
Excuse me?
Big question.
Hey, you took that from me.
You've played it before? Uncle Jim said he made it up.
Uncle Jim lied.
What if you say again?
Personally, I place a lot of importance on who I have sex with. Plus, I have too many safety concerns to get busy with a stranger.
Or what about a one night stand with someone you know and trust?
For me, for it to only happen once, it sort of implies regret afterwards, and that doesn't sound so fun to me.
Fair enough. I've only had great experiences with them. Each one tells its own little story.
I mean, if it works for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
all right, let me think of a topic.
Right, well, don't think too well because your brain might.
Mirror.
What do I want to hear your
Mod.
opinion?
I'm like, what kind of topic is that? Mirror selfies? Is that what people talk about in this day and age? How would people leave on the spot if someone asked me that? Best topic, forehead. I know, right? So where do you stand on mirror selfies, huh? I know it's very controversial, but what do you think about mirror selfies? What do you think about them, huh? I know it's quite controversial, but I would like to hear your opinion on it. I am the mirror. That's what always works for you. You always ask about mirror selfies first. I see. I gotta note that one down. Gotta remember that one. Mirror selfies. Yeah, okay. Ask about the mirror selfies, right? Very important. What in the fuck? I feel like that might be the correct thing. Like, positive thing or whatever. I have an odd suspicion that you might not like tattoos, but I'm picking tattoos.
Tattoos. Where'd you stand?
Okay, I haven't got any personally,
Oh,
but I've
no, I was
also
wrong.
nothing against them. What about you?
Nada. I'm a blank canvas as of now. Would you get any?
No.
Even if something meant a lot to you?
Yeah, I think especially if it means something to me. Like, because if you've got something on your body and you can see it every day, doesn't it sort of lose its significance? Like, if I was going to get one, I'd get something really cool, just so I could look at it.
That's an interesting view.
Okay, my turn. Okay. Peace and war. Where do you stand?
Oh, that's a big one. Are you going to draw any
Show
like, big
you
conclusions from my
4
answer here?
hours.
Yeah. No, quite possibly I will, yeah.
Great, okay.
Then the girl leaves. They already left the room before you finished. Before you finished saying the amount of hours. That's bad, man. What about peace?
Peace, obviously.
Why, obviously?
Or why'd I support senseless killings for the whims of politicians?
Military conflict's never going away. It's a sad fact of life, but I think accepting it and making sure it's done in the right context is the only way forward.
Which would be...
Well, we're not going to get into that now. We'll be here all night. Besides, the world needs pacifists to make sure we're not starting wars over anything and everything.
Cursed you. Boyful cursed, you know.
Oh, here we go. What are you going to ask?
Drugs.
What are you dying to hear my opinion on?
It took away your mojo, Hoyful. I want to say drugs. I want to say drugs. Drugs.
Drugs. Where'd you stand?
Obviously, irresponsible drug use is a disaster, but I think we all know the qualities of medicinal marijuana.
So that's a yes to drugs?
Some.
Good to know.
Morning or evening?
For taking drugs or just
No,
in general?
Just in general.
Evening.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
Or so you think. The complexity comes in your reasoning.
I'm a night owl.
And I'm a morning person.
Oh.
We're completely compatible.
How does that work?
Wait, what?
Because we complement each other.
Oh,
like
well,
yin and yang.
okay, sure.
It's like if we were together in the dark ages,
Four is more
one of us would
important.
be there to
It
hunt in the
is.
morning and one of us would be there to watch the fire at night.
So
Gotta
I'll make
get
the
that
dinner
world
and you get us
domination.
coffee.
That sounds like a very good deal to me. I feel like I can be quite open with you. Do you want to?
This
tell
is
the
going
truth?
way too
Or
well.
is that ridiculous?
No, I like it.
I'm better at being the woman than the guy.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm addicted to cigarettes.
You're a smoker.
It started last year when I was going through a really stressful period.
Nah. You're addicted to cigarettes.
Yeah.
No.
In my defence, I'm weaning myself
Sure,
off
it
them,
ain't
and
so.
my next resolution for the new year is to give them up completely. Okay, your turn.
Oh, no, I'm still
Never
thinking of
dated a
one,
woman, never been in
Okay, here
love.
we go.
I've
3,
never been in
2,
love before.
1.
I've never been in love. I mean,
Look.
family love, yeah. Platonic love,
It's
yeah.
the way she said it.
Lust, yeah. But
Sounded like she was confessing to something.
actual, real
Like something
love?
bad.
Like really falling for someone? No.
Sounded like she just confessed to murder or
Nothing mutual
something.
anyway.
That's something to look
But just
forward to.
laugh, butt check.
The first time is always intoxicating.
You speak from experience.
Oh, yeah. It's just like everything's bubbling up inside you and you can't stop it. But not that you want to stop it. Everything's just better. Every morning, every night, even a dead-end job in HR is a joy when you're sailing through life in love.
But it didn't last forever.
No. It was out of my control, but yeah, I'm ready to get back to it.
You've really sold it to me. I look forward to it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Govland.
I'll let Uncle Jim know the game was a success.
Please do.
Uncle Jim.
Oh,
Why not Uncle Marcus?
Misha, I don't normally ask this, but would you be alright to cover my part?
No.
I'm just in a really hard spot financially.
61
Whole thing,
pounds.
So if you won't mind.
61
It
pounds
would
for
really help me.
2 drinks. Jesus Christ, man. I'm eating my wallet over here. You're comfy in bed. Comfy in bed watching 10 dates. Feels good, man.
You know what? If you're in a hard spot, I'm happy to help.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
Is it rent day or something?
Yeah, that, and I've had to take some unexpected time off work recently, so.
Oh, they have more than 2? Oh, okay.
Soon.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
but so expensive.
Yeah, me too.
That's true. Luckily, you don't have to worry about money
Yeah,
in the
me
game.
too. It's been a belter.
I've got to go in a minute, but I've got to wait for my taxi.
Give her a hug.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Shit. Nothing. Look, I'd really love to walk you home, but I've just got to get back myself.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Text me when you're home, will ya?
Yeah, sure.
Right, I'll see you soon.
Monka. The microwave is about to explode. She left the popcorn in it. She has a boyfriend. Now she just left the micro oven on for too long.
What? Very important.
Oh.
You ready?
No.
I'm gonna ask you either way if you're ready or not.
Go.
Who is getting the call for the third date?
Oh my god, what are you doing? Exactly. God, no. We should have gone with tight. Well, we have the nerd and Hazel. Man, this is a tough one. Oof. I wanna get the nerd. He's saying the nerd too. Surely we can't fuck it up with the nerd, right? If we do that, if we can fuck it up with the nerd, then oof. And then we're playing DBD for the rest of the year. If we fuck it up.
Here goes nothing.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Mistook the 11th dwarf in the ancient era. Can't be with you anymore. I'm sorry, I can't see you.
Cool. I was just wondering if you wanted to hang out again. I know this really cool place we could go to. Okay, great. Brilliant. I'll text you the details. Okay. Bye.
Well. Yeah? Third date?
Third date. Oh, hey.
One more. That actually was it. You're stronger than you look.
I know. Tiny but mighty.
Where are we going for the third and final date? Lucas, all the right notes. What, did he prep an entire speech or something? Tomas. Why is he on his phone?
Hello.
Flowers, wow.
Yeah. This isn't like
Aw,
totally inappropriate.
how old
is it?
school?
No, it's so appropriate. Oh my god, they're beautiful.
Oh, they're for you.
Thank you.
It's okay.
He just found them outside
How's
the
your day
restaurant.
been?
In the bush.
Not left my desk for a week, so
Uh.
yeah, that feels good.
Sounds like me.
I have something that helps me when I have laptop eyes.
Ugh, not another game. Really?
It's a dance app. You have to keep in time with each other to get points.
Dan's app?
Sure. Why
Oh
not?
god. They suck at rhythm games too. Can we not do
the
this?
first move is
the slut drop.
Leo neckbeard.
Yes, he's done this before.
No.
You so have. No, we've got to get in time together.
He doesn't even have a beard though. That's the fucking bartender.
Maybe this should be the next dance craze.
I think it's already been a dance craze.
Oh,
This is a game.
Oh,
Yes,
the
this is in fact a
robot.
video game. It's an
Oh, what's your
FMV
facial
game.
expressions going and everything. Is this because you spend so much time with robots?
Oh gosh, this is. Oh, what am I doing?
It may look like a movie or something, but no, it's a game. See, you got options every now and then. What is FMV? What does it stand for again? Full motion video or something? I don't know. I forget what it stands for. But yeah, look at these graphics. They're so realistic. But they're basically games of real people, with real videos, actors, acting out on the screen. But then you pick options every now and then. These were quite popular back in the day, like point and click games. Well, there's a few of these now that you can play. That random guy in the back was at the speed dating with the guy with the beanie in the back. Oh, see, I didn't even notice him. So Detroit Become Human. Yeah, you could compare it to those kind of games. Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, stuff like that. Except this is with actual real people. It's basically like that. Way of real people. Actual humans.
I'm pretty knackered too. Should we call it a day?
Yes, please. Ooh, gosh. Ugh.
Did you hate that?
I did. But I do feel more awake, so thank you for that. You know, I've been thinking about like
And well, this game is specifically about
and how we
getting a
test our
date.
compatibility in like this natural world.
Getting a girlfriend or
And how,
boyfriend.
with romance becoming more and more digitized as we speak, it's becoming a lot easier to find your match. So, if there was, which there will be, a computer that you could put all your information in and it would find your
What is he saying right
perfect
now?
suitor, would you go for that?
You mean if I could have the perfect person delivered to my door?
Essentially, yeah. And it would be that and more than you could ever imagine.
No, I don't think so. I think I'd still like to choose. I mean,
Nerd
there
stuff.
are elements that computers can't
Hmm.
predict, like
Sounds
gut
like
and
it.
my instinct.
Well, I mean, science have now put down that whole gut thing to the enteric nervous system. So, yeah, when people say the phrase "go with your gut," that's been proven in action to be the second brain. So, I suppose that is valid, yeah.
Thank
And
you
they
for
play his
validating
song in the background. No.
You're really keen on this whole
I'm
let
sorry,
a
no.
computer decide for me thing, aren't you?
I just find it hard to make genuine connections in
You'll send the
virtual
link.
environment. That's all.
So you want to find a device
Sure,
that
if you
does
want to
it
get
for you.
assassinated by
Surely only
Nightbot,
you can know that.
sure. You can't
I
post
just-
links.
I don't know. It's
You
I don't
cannot
feel like
post
I've got
links.
a good judge of character, and if I could, program a device that
Oh,
replicated
never
my
mind. Nightbot's
brain,
okay.
I would.
Well,
That
my
puts
gut
slacking.
instinct's telling me it's time to eat.
Let's order some food. Order whatever you like.
Why did you fix this place's payment system too?
Not quite. I'm one of the owners here.
But he's the owner?
I have invested in several establishments
Excuse
in
me?
this area.
Are you like a tech millionaire?
Excuse me? This guy is
I've
secretly like a
created a
billionaire.
fair bit of code in my time and sold a
Jesus.
few patents, yeah. But I don't tell people about that really. But yeah, like I said, order whatever you want. It's honestly fine.
Are you sure?
Honestly.
Burger and fries. Can never go wrong with a burger.
That's really sweet, but I'm a simple burger and fries kind of girl.
Good choice.
Lucas. Yeah, the guy is his name's Lucas,
dark
right?
Wine is your kind of wine. You don't like light wines.
Dark or light?
Yeah.
I like all wine. Wine is great.
Mouse.
From your mouse. Yes! Yes, now I know what a lemur is.
And there's like in real life, they kind of look like mini bear. Oh gosh, I better go. My cat's waiting to be fed, and she's quite routine.
Is your
with me,
cat?
so
Can I come home with
That's
you?
okay.
Can I come home, pet your
Thanks
cat?
for coming all this way.
No, it's totally fine. It's not that far.
Good.
Give him a hug. A PS5, exactly. That is what you need for this.
Oh,
It's very
and a hugger,
demanding.
I probably should have mentioned.
No.
I don't know. You can probably play this on
It was
any type
nice.
of PC. I have no idea. On
Misha,
PlayStation.
I have had such a lovely evening with you, and I would like to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
ask you to
PS4 game,
accompany me
so.
to an event. It's
And
a
it's basically just a
AI
movie.
What's that?
Well, it's all to do with technology, and I've been asked to come as a guest speaker, so I'd like you to be there.
Will there be robots?
Maybe.
This game's free. No, you gotta pay for it.
Who's not?
And would you protect me?
No.
It's like, I don't know, $10, $12, $11, something like that.
I'd love to.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
It's amazing.
He got a
Can I walk
kiss.
you home?
Sure. Yeah.
I just want to meet your cat.
Hey, we are going home with
So
him.
she's gonna love you.
Pog, we are going to pet the cat. Nice. Easy money. Sick. Oh my god. Misha and Lucas have been dating for a few months. They are now officially in the real and digital world. What in the fuck? Don't tell me that's an NFT. It's a ticky. It's not. Thank God. Pog, we did it. All that. We did better as the lady than with Ryan. Oh, online avatar. Yeah, it's a new profile picture. Hey, so that, ah man, what a shame we didn't fail. What a shame we didn't fail. If we would have failed, it would have meant DBD for the rest of the year. What a shame that didn't happen. DVD. Don't worry, it'll still happen. You'll still get your DBD fix. For a second, you were scared. I told you, we couldn't fuck that one up. If we fucked up the nerd one, then there's something terribly wrong. If we failed, it'll be DVD all year. You're just like, please don't fail. Please don't fuck it up. I know my son too well. Hey. Like father, like son. Isn't that what they say? He's your son too. The Gov's son. Yep. And that's why he's not completely an old man. That's why he doesn't have a wallet.
Sergeant Chandler,
Oh, that's perfect.
are you really as good as they all say you are?
Every once in a while.
Hell yeah. That's perfect right after we got the date with Lucas. Every once in a while. Exactly. Every once in a while we can pull it off. Nice. We did it. We did a run with both of them. You pulled someone. Yeah, we did so much better with Misha than compared to Ryan. You just saw the title. Oh, what? Wait, the title of the game or the stream? I'm guessing the stream. Yeah. Dating Satan. That's what we did first. We just kind of fucked that up. We just kind of fucked that up. It's her, the Satan girl. We fucked it up. We got to the final date, but we couldn't seal the deal. Seal the deal to hell. Sing to Jake. Agree that bastards are legit team. Fucking Ty, man. You can kiss him too? Turn up the subwoofer. Turn up the subwoofer. I want to see the whole room shake. The whole room just starts violently shaking. Yeah, we almost got everything with him. Snuggle with Hazel. What? I thought you have a problem with a secret curfew. Oh, is that what the phone thing was about? Holy shit, wait, we got 100 with her. Yeah, we did really well with her. You snuggled with hate. I mean, you did everything in the game. You already got the plat.